up for that video. Sweet. Welcome to 1 Million Cups, everybody. I'm Kate Herzog. I will be your MC this morning. If you haven't been over to Mandan, you don't go over to Mandan frequently, there's some awesome hidden treasures and some obvious treasures there. Butcher Block Meats, which I've mentioned many times on this stage. This is a delicious butcher store. You need to walk in the back. There's blood on the floor. It's great. I mean, it's just smells like smoke, like smokehouse smoke. Delicious. Check it out. But there's breweries, other non-blood places. Just a lot of cool things in Mandan to check out. So get over there, see our friends in Mandan, part of our 1 Million Cups community. How many people are here for the first time? Well, we got a few newbies. Awesome. Well, welcome to 1 Million Cups. We're here every Wednesday at 9 a.m. If you haven't already, please download the 1 Million Cups app and check in. Helps us track who's here, but you can also see what's coming up. You can apply to present, and you can see all that fun stuff. So please check that out. I want to thank our sponsors. They help us pay for this, get the coffee. They've been great supporters for 1 Million Cups. If you see them, please thank them. Tell them that you appreciate their support for 1 Million Cups. Do we have some sponsors in the audience? If you do, raise your hand. Woo, all right, yeah, so thanks, Dave. Also a Mandan kid. You've been to Butcher Block, right? Oh, you didn't bring us any beef sticks? Oh. So good. You're solid Mandan. I love it. Okay. So what is 1 Million Cups? For those of you that are new, we are here every week. We have an entrepreneur or two on stage. They tell us a little bit about their business, and we kind of have a robust Q&A afterwards. We either challenge them, give them advice, and learn about their business. So can we change the face of our community by connecting with our entrepreneur community, supporting them, and having great conversation in the mornings on Wednesdays? So if you, like I said, we have a robust Q&A after this. If you don't want to ask your question in the microphone, you can use hashtag 1MCND. Even if you're taking pictures or you hear something great, please tag us at hashtag 1MCND. What we usually do now is we do some community announcements. So if you have an announcement, you can please come up and let us know. Just an FYI, no political things or swearing, because we are doing this Facebook Live. So if you have any announcements, please come on up.
I'm Kara Geiger with the Bismarck Mandan Community Foundation, and I do have a slide with some information. Hopefully they can pull that up. Here we go. So we have a grant opportunity right now for nonprofit organizations that serve the Bismarck Mandan community and also the surrounding communities in Burleigh and Morton counties. It's a multi-step process. The first one is a letter of intent, which is due by July 1st. Our website is up there. I know this is primarily an entrepreneurial crowd, but you wear many hats, I'm sure. So if you or someone you know is involved with a nonprofit in the area, please tell them to go to our website, take a look at the information. We would love to see some proposals from groups that are maybe creating a new program or expanding a program. We did this for the first time last year, and it went to Dreams in Motion. They used the $50,000 to add 3 new sports to their list of offerings for people with physical disabilities. So we were really very proud to see the progress that they've made even just over the last 6 months since getting the grant. So please check it out. Thank you.
Good morning. University of Mary is launching a new summer camp this July. It is for North Dakota high school students, and it is all about leadership and exploring the dynamic career opportunities that are available right here in North Dakota. It's a 3-day camp. We are looking for 50 North Dakota high school students if we can get them. And what we really want to do, this is about workforce development. This is about showing young people that they can have an exciting career and the great quality of life that North Dakota has to offer. So if you know any high school kids, if you have any high school kids that might be interested, please encourage them to visit that link, check it out. All the details are there, and register. Before I get the thank you, There was. I almost forgot to give you our pay it forward pitch on this as well. The cost of the camp is $150, but the University of Mary is doing a pay it forward pitch, and $100 of each student's registration fee will be gifted back to their school club or organization that they're participating in. If it's DECA, if it's FBLA, 4-H, you name it, anything. It could be a booster club. It doesn't matter at all. The idea is to pay it forward and to, in a lot of ways, seed fund their passion, whatever they're passionate about. So if you know any kids, have any kids, check it out.
All right, good morning. About 3 months ago, myself, Ben Brick, and Carrie Olson started a collective for entrepreneurs to help build their branding, and we have a new space that we've been working on the past 3 months, getting it up and running. It's just on Broadway, about a block from here, and we're very excited to have our open house on Tuesday. We've been working hard to get the space done, so we just want to invite you to our open house. It's Tuesday, 4 to 6, and we're going to have Anima Cucina charcuterie boards and wine, so it'll just be a good time to see the space, see the building, and kind of celebrate this next career path for all of us. So, thanks.
Morning, everybody. Just wanted to push out a quick note about our professional development series at the Chamber EDC on cybersecurity and IT. That's going to be on June 18th from 10 to noon. We're going to have, this is our second year for professional development series where we kind of host a series of different things and topics for you all to take in for professional development, maybe for yourself or your organization. We're going to have Matt Freilich, Associate Professor of CIS at Bismarck State College, and Anthony Alkland at Cybersecurity Analyst at ITD. So if you got any questions about that, you want to register, you can go to bismarckmandan.com and register for that program, or you can call us at 223-5660. Let us know how we can get you registered. Swing by and have some lunch and all that. Also, big Saturday ahead of us. June 15th is Lemonade Day. Got some crazy lemons here. If I hit you in the head, Lemonade Day, all day, every day in Mandan and Bismarck. So from sun up to sunrise to sunset. Get out there, buy some lemonade, support your young entrepreneurs. When life gives you lemons, be the boss. And we're excited to empower today's youth to become tomorrow's entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Josh with Capital Electric, and I think we have a slide here as well. Okay. We are hosting an EV tailgate party with a lot of sponsors there on the bottom you can see, and this is on Monday from 4 to 7, but it's kind of an endless thing, so if you come a little late, you can stay late as well. But it's just an opportunity to give local people a chance to see electric vehicles firsthand and ask questions to the owners. Instead of going to a dealership and asking questions, you could talk to the actual owners and see their actual experiences. We're going to have a couple of electric buses there, and hopefully about 20 different electric vehicles and electric assist bicycles and some other products. We'll be doing giveaways and some drawings, and just hoping, and also free food and refreshments as well. So for anybody that can make it, or if you have some other people that are not here that would be interested, please pass the word. And we have some flyers up front by the coffee that you can take with you. Thanks.
Any other announcements? Did anybody pluck up some courage for more announcements? No? Dave, I didn't know you were going to throw fruit at people. I have to ask you a question. I saw a video for Lemonade Day, and there was a person dressed in a huge lemon suit, but he happened to have the same blue shoes that you always wear, so I'm curious if that was you. Oh, that bum. Okay. Yes, check out Lemonade Day, an awesome event going on. If we don't have any other community announcements, we've been doing this a little bit the last few weeks. We've got 3 awesome 1 million cups mugs. You can put anything that you want in them. We have asked people to come up and, hey, tell us why you're here. Sometimes we just throw them at people. Sometimes we've had people give them to other people. So I think this time, let's do the same thing we did last time. Let's do a kudos. If you want to give kudos to somebody in the audience or yourself, you can give yourself a pat on the back. Come up, grab a mug, and give them a kudos. And we're just going to sit here in silence until they're all gone. Something happening. Nice.
Store, and he builds his own guitars, and he's going to have lots of different musical products, not just his own brand. They're super sick, John Mark guitars, and also solid rock music. Be on the lookout. So, Maddie, this is for you, wherever you are.
Woo, this is for you. It's right there. All right, who wants another kudos to somebody?
Kudos to Haley Whitman. She stepped out on her own and she's doing some freelance graphic design and stuff. So shout out to her. There you go, girl.
Okay. One more. And I will sit here the whole time. Yes, Lakin. Thank you.
For the good of the order, I just wanted to give kudos to my pal Kayla Schmidt, who accepted the role of MC at TEDx Bismarck this year, and she's a recent graduate of our Women's Leadership Program. So we're very proud of her accomplishments and excited to have her on stage with us.
Thank you. Great job, Kayla. An exceptional roller skater as well. Okay, so let's get to our program. Aviary Ring Company, they are creating a unique brand of wedding rings for men that break the traditional mold. Target customer is men ages 20 to 35 in a work environment that are either married or engaged to be married. Please help me welcome Brandon Loftis.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. Like Kate said, my name is Brandon Loftis, and I'm the founder of Aviary Ring Co. And like she said, we create and specialize in making custom, handmade, unique wedding bands for men. They say that all good companies are founded upon the basis of jealousy. That's a quote from Teddy Roosevelt, actually. That's a lie. I made that up because he's dead and he's not here to defend himself. So I made that up so I could feel a little bit better about myself because my company was founded upon the basis of jealousy. So a few years ago, I moved back to Bismarck. I'm a Bismarck boy, love this town usually, and I moved back 3 years ago, beginning of 2016. I started hanging out with my best friend, Joe. Now, Joe owns a woodworking company. And I would hang out in his wood shop, and he's got a day job, but then in the evenings, Saturdays, Sundays, he's in the wood shop, and he's making like cool end tables and coffee tables and all sorts of cool stuff, and he's making money. And his weekend hobbies are actually like being productive, and I'm like, when's the last time my hobby did anything? I'm like, Saturday, what did I do? Like, I drank a Guinness and took a nap, I don't know. Can that be monetized? Probably not. Ended up homeless for a short season. It worked out. So anyway, I'm sort of like, man, what could I possibly do that would produce some sort of, some income on the side possibly, or if nothing else, maybe a good exercise and productivity. So I thought back to when I was in 8th or 9th grade. I went to Horizon and I took this class, and it was like intro to basic plumbing, basic circuitry. But there was this one lab, and it was a wood turning course. Now, if you're unfamiliar with wood turning, there's this machine called a lathe, and a lathe just takes a block of wood and spins it super fast. Since it's spinning in a circular motion, you're more or less relegated to just using or just having rounded objects, such as pens or the BA candlestick that you're going to see later, just rounded objects. And so I remember in this certain lab, though, I had made 2 pens out of cherry wood. And like a lot of entrepreneurs in here, I was not like a killer student. I'm more of a hands-on learner. And so I remember this class was the most fun I had ever had in school before. And I'm on this lab, and it's like a whole week, and I got to make these wooden pens. Gave one to my dad. Like all other pens, I lost mine immediately, somewhere in the ethos. And anyway, so now fast forward to 10 years later or whatever, and I'm in Joe's wood shop looking at him with just green with envy, and I'm like, what could I do that would be good for me as a hobby? And I thought back, you know what? Let's buy a lathe. So, mostly on a whim, I went to Sears, rest in peace, and I walked in. I got too many laughs. You guys are terrible. And I walked in. I knew the guy in the tool section. His name's Alex. I said, Alex, I want to buy a lathe. And he said, well, you're in luck because we don't sell lathes anymore, but we have one more in the back, and guess what? It's on sale. I walked out of there with a $450 Craftsman lathe. It's the same one that I use today, and that's in my workshop garage. And I walked out of there with a $450 lathe for $240. So I was feeling pretty good about myself, about another $100 in my hand tools. You can kind of see it down there. It's like I have all these chisels and stuff that you sharpen and use to create your piece. So I go and I buy that, and I'm in the garage. I put it on Joe's workbench, and I'm like, hey, I got it. Now what? And so he gives me this beautiful piece of wood, a scrap piece of 4x4 from Menards, and I throw it up on there, and it was less art and more murder, and I just take my tools, and I was like, okay, let's do this. And lost my mic here, just destroy this piece of wood. And it ended up being a real thing of beauty. And you know what? After doing the market research, I realized, this is more of like a Mona Lisa or a Banksy. It's sort of priceless. So I made the most BA artisanal candlestick that I thought money could buy, and it's still in my garage. And so we ended up taking a little tea light and sort of had like this weird religious ceremony and lit it and just sort of watched it, and we were like, this is the start to something great. And maybe it is. We'll see. So I make the candlestick, and then I'm like, well, that was kind of a bust, and I don't really want to make pens, so what do I want to do? And I end up landing on the concept of wooden wedding bands. And I went, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I took a piece of walnut and I threw that on the lathe, and with no idea what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, I got to turning. And it was a little less murder, still pretty gory. And I threw that piece of walnut on there, and I made my very first ring, and that's right here. So I hope you can figure out which one is which. So this is a recent one on the left here. And on the right, there's the old one, and it's kind of hard to tell, but this is like a 1/16 of an inch thick. They're super thin, super comfortable. So this is like a 1/4 inch thick. It's like your fingers are like spocking it when you wear them, and it's super jagged. Like you put it on, like your fingers are going in a meat grinder, and you're like, oh, this is great. And then it's got a little crack here. As soon as it reached the knuckle, it split. And so now instead of a ring, it's more of like the worst designed salad tongs ever. And so I make that, and Joe's wife comes down. Her name's Sierra. She walks in, and I was like, I did it. And she had known that I was talking about it, and she just was like, it wasn't like, oh, wow. It was like, oh, wow, and it's like, good job, buddy, kind of like, you'll get there someday. So I kept grinding. I just kept trying different iterations and different grain patterns in the wood, and just how I could go into it, but however many different combinations I tried, how many broken rings and how many chunks of wood I lemoned like you and was just hucking them, I was just so frustrated. But finally, I made a ring, and it actually turned out pretty well. I don't remember what my next slide is. There it is. So I used to offer metal in the rings. I'm still working on the metal. The issue with the metal is that they're prone to come out eventually. And so I'm working on a method that would really secure them so they won't come out. But here's one of my original rings. This is walnut and copper. And one night, I just remember it was around Christmas time, around the 1st of December, and I had just taken a few pictures of these rings. And I just posted them on Facebook, and I said, hey, friends, here's something that I'm working on. Thought it might be cool. I posted it on Facebook. I went to bed. And the next morning, I woke up, and my phone's blowing up. I've got comments, I've got likes, I've got shares, and private messages from people. How can I get my hands on one of these? By the end of the next 24-hour span, we were over like 130 likes on that Facebook post. I don't know how many comments, and I had made some sales. And I sold them for the pretty premium price of $50. And this one right here took me about, I didn't need the point there, but that one right there took me about 2 hours to make. So I've got a solid $25 an hour, minus tax, minus labor, minus material and all that. So it really wasn't a great deal, but I felt I was on top of the world, and I was like, you know what? I might really have something here. So this was actually a ring for my grandma. This ring was for my grandpa, And then here's what we have today. So different iterations and however many years, 3 years and some change of grinding and trying to figure this out. I officially launched thanks to the Makewell community and really how wonderful it is with networking and different entrepreneurs who are, who will push you to do things. I decided I'm going to go out on my own. Wasn't super happy with my job, and so about 3 months ago, I got registered with the state, with the feds, with the IRS, and all that, and I launched Aviary Ring Co. 2 weeks ago was the last day at my job, and so now I'm self-employed, unemployed, and my wife is bringing home the bacon. So thanks, baby. So here's what we have here. I took a few screenshots of the website. So this is our Aviary Basic line. And so we have 5 rings, and this is our first price threshold. So this is the cardinal, the robin, the raven, the owl, and the meadowlark. And these are just going to be one type of wood, solid wood bands. And here's a picture. This is the cardinal. It's called Paduke. This is wood out of Central Africa. This wood is actually a white oak burl, which is like a big growth on the side of a tree. Really interesting grain pattern. And this will be kind of a rotating piece because burl is, since it's an anomaly, it's kind of hard to source. So this is a white oak burl. Eventually, I'll move into different burls when I'm out. Our second price threshold we have here. I didn't take a screenshot of the website. Didn't really look good. So we have our Aviary Select line. Our Aviary Select line is going to be 2 types of wood, and this, as you can see, has multiple layers, but it's Paduke and maple, so it's just 2 types of wood, so it still meets that criteria. Here's another picture. That's again the Paduke and maple, just in a different form. And then here, this one is ebony. It's a little harder to see on the screen today, but it's ebony and it's bloodwood in the middle there. And ebony is this beautiful black wood that I sourced from East Africa, and it has a really, really beautiful dark tone with silver lines running through it. I really love it. Our third threshold is the one that I actually sell the most. This one's our premium line, and this is our custom line here. This is the owl again, but this one has a groove that I've cut into the side and filled with a royal blue epoxy. That was the customer's favorite color. And here I have a few more pictures of the custom work. This is, again, ebony and bloodwood, but with a strip of maple on the outside. With the premium line, you get 3 types of wood, and then anything, if you want 4 types of wood, that's an upsell. So here's a custom piece I did a couple months ago. Again, bloodwood, maple, and ebony, just in a different pattern. And then this is a ring that I did. A customer really loved lime green. Wouldn't have been my first choice, but I filled in a groove in the middle with a lime green epoxy resin. And then this one I'm really excited about. Going back to Joe, this is his ring. I actually have a CNC machine, and that cuts in dates for me, or whatever words you want. So this is actually his anniversary, his gift that he'll be getting here in a few weeks. So that is our Aviary Limited line, our premium line, and like I said, I make that's the majority of what I do. Those are all handcrafted, and I actually schedule a consultation with you either over email or in person. Last week, I love the internet. Last week I was on Instagram video chat with a guy from Canada designing his ring. It's been a lot of fun so far. And then lastly, our Aviary Odyssey line, and you can see it says upcycled skate decks. So I take legitimate old skateboards and I turn them into rings. And they're just, the colors, I love them. They really pop, and I'm wearing mine today. You got the just beautiful orange, reds, and blues in there. And we just like to ask, we like to sell the story on this, and not, your skateboard was there the first time you broke your arm, but it was there the first time you nailed that kickflip. It was there the first time you nailed that gravel patch and you ate it. It was also there when you finally bombed that hill and it held steady under you. So your skateboard has been the path to freedom, the catalyst to adventure, and for many, a real big part of their lives. And so we don't just like to ask, how many adventures has your skateboard been on? We like to ask, how many more does it have? You can visit us online at aviaryring.com or connect with us on Facebook at Aviary Ring Co. and on Instagram at Aviary Ring Co. Thank you so much.
Okay, if you have a question, throw your hand up and Tyler will find you with the microphone, or you can use hashtag 1MC and the crew at CTB will ask a question for you. Dave.
My favorite color is blue. I love the skate deck ones too, but do you know of any blue grained wood, or do you stain wood as well and then turn it, or stain it after it's been turned, or any of those other color variations besides epoxy?
Not in a plain wood. There's not a ring that's a true blue. So it would be some sort of a stain, or something that I've actually had a lot of success in using is calligraphy ink. And that is, you go in any Michaels or Hobby Lobby, they have a wide rainbow of colors. So we could certainly, if you had a blue in mind, we could chat about that.
I have a question for you. It seems like men are taking more interest in their wedding rings. I mean, I've seen silicone ones. It's not like your standard, I have to wear this kind of ring. It's like, I want to be a part of that process. Was that something that you were seeing in the market, or you're just trying to figure out how to use that lathe and make some cash?
Well, I'm really happy because with the groove rings, they're called, and a lot of silicone rings, the demand, the wave is creating the market. And so I'm not looking to go into like all sort of alternative rings. I want to stay in my lane, but I'm open to different materials. I don't really have the ability to create a silicone ring or anything like that, so I'm trying to stay with sort of a natural approach to things, and I've had good success with like the Boulder, Colorado area, and just places like that, just trying to, like I said, stay natural. So.
Hey, Brandon, good job.
Thank you.
How did you come up with the name Aviary? Is it because birds live in trees?
That would have been a good point, actually. Never made that connection. But my brother's here, Jordan Loftis. He's the owner of Story Chorus, and he hosted TEDx last year. All right, guy. He's a marketing genius, and he was talking to me. And when I first got going, I was using that ebony wood, and that's that black wood. And I was like, but I just, I want to throw it out there on Facebook, but I don't really know what to call it. And he said, well, call it the Raven. He just threw that out there, and I was like, ooh, that's dope. So I just kept coming up with new rings, and then I made a walnut ring, which is brown, and the brown wood became the robin. And then as I made different rings and the tones of woods matched up with different birds, they just sort of like the cardinal's red, and the meadowlark is brown and black like the meadowlark. And so eventually all my rings had bird names, and then I was like, well, what's something that's birdie? And it became Aviary Ring Co.
Okay, question in the back.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon, for presenting. It was awesome, and I love that you're really comical. I have a question about your upcycled skateboards. Where do you get them from? What made you come up with the idea of using skateboards? If you can tell where you get your skateboards. And what sprung that idea on?
Gotcha. Sort of an epiphany, really, with that, and then as I did some research, I saw that they were out there, but I've got some hidden reservations that they're actually made of skateboards with some of them. So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to get legit skateboards. I'm going to make them, and I'm going to market them as upcycled skate decks. Sort of a, like I said, trying not to sell exactly that they were skate decks exactly, but that they've got a story and they've got history. Now, as far as where I get them, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. So.
Have you thought about using other things that are, important to people, like baseball bats or, other things made of wood? Are there any larks in here? Let's hit up those larks. Birds, bats, wood, rings. I mean, I'm seeing a connection.
Vibing, I get
Yeah.
it. I actually have. The issue with those is sourcing stuff like that. So one thing that we do want to do, specifically right now, it's an option on the website. If you want to send us your skate deck, we can make a ring out of it, and then we comp you the price of shipping minus the price of the ring. So the skate rings are $100, and if you spend $10 on shipping the skateboard, we just charge you $90, so that you're still at that price. It's a good deal for us because we get all the material for a skateboard then. Now, we have thought about, like, I've seen some stuff out there that this one guy made a ring out of like a World War II gun barrel. There's whiskey barrel rings out there. So a lot of that stuff, that's a little more involved of a process. The wood, I stabilize my wood so that it's strong, and it's actually more of a composite. It's filled with an epoxy resin, so all the air's pushed out, and so that really helps stabilize it. But all of that stuff has to be stabilized because a lot of it is so old that it's starting to maybe rot or something. So, yeah.
No rotten wood.
Hey, Brandon, it's Joel.
Hi, Joel. Love you.
Hey, so if this was my ring company, I would be thinking, okay, there's a lot of these out there. I know you kind of backed into this. I mean, you started as a hobby, and now you're doing it full time. What do you see as your niche, and how would you try and sell these rings as, this is a unique product? Is it your price point? Is it your communication with the buyer, kind of the consultation process? I'll let you use your words.
Cool. I have seen great success in the personability aspect, if you will. The one-on-one sales, the consultations, like you said, the Instagram video chats, the meeting with clients in coffee shops. We've done that, and then eventually, they fall in love with the custom rings because I don't really design them. You design them, and so they're for you, by you, and you're putting it on, and you're like, essentially, this is mine. Like it has your personality and your mark on it. So I've seen great success in that. The price point is certainly a selling point because a lot of places are starting out at like a $400 or $500 price point. Some are a little cheaper, but it's just trying to really get to market, get the name out there, and then just be myself and just get people to be on my side, really.
Can you talk a little bit about the process? I was reading on your website, some people would be like, oh, I would break a wooden ring or some, in terms of long-lasting rings, without giving away the farm, kind of how you've gotten over that if people have asked questions about that.
Yeah, well, what I do, and I touched on this briefly, was the epoxy resin. So the wood, before I even start, gets put into a pressure pot. And that pressure pot forces all the air out of the wood, and what it does is it forces this plastic basically into the ring. It gets baked, it gets hardened, and you can hold like a piece of wood that hasn't been stabilized, and then you can pick this up. This is like 2 or 3 times the weight, so it becomes a lot more dense. It's wood, it's going to have different grains that run through it. And every piece is going to be different. This helps allow for some leeway in that, so that anything that might be a natural deformity or an anomaly, that's going to help it. That's going to compensate for that, and then it also adds a ton of strength to the wood. I actually have one right here. I don't want to seem biased, so I'm not going to give it to one of my friends, but not that we're not friends. Okay, but here you go. This is a ring. I haven't put any finish on it. Just go at it. Try to break it. And you can put it here, and you can ask for other volunteers that I don't know.
Who is strong? Nobody? Kelly, you're strong? No, not really. Okay. Fine. Amos, will you come try and break this?
Don't take it easy on me, dude.
I have a strong grip, so that was the best I could do.
Nope, that hurt, and it is still there. Okay.
Yep.
It is still in ring shape.
So thank you. I've punched a concrete floor wearing this, so I've gone to great personal lengths to try and prove these. I'm not saying they can't break. I've had them break where I'm moving or something, and I shift an appliance, and it gets smashed between a concrete wall and an appliance. It broke. They're not foolproof. They are wood, but every single ring has its drawbacks. Either it's a $1,000 ring, maybe you're allergic to the metal, and this I haven't had anybody allergic to. They're super comfortable, they're light. I mean, I don't even know I'm wearing it most of the time. So, every ring is going to have its pros and cons, and so I've tried to do my best to eliminate as many of the cons as possible. And so, you just have to decide and just weigh for yourself.
Nice. Question in the back, up on the side.
So, looking forward, and as you maybe start to scale the company, are there ways that you can lower your production costs, or is that not necessarily a priority, and maybe just raise your prices eventually to increase your margin?
Mm-hmm. My margin is pretty fantastic as it is. So I'm not too worried about that. The material cost is super low. The labor cost is, to your point, is where the price comes in. To eliminate the need for a price, I don't think I'll ever go cheaper, because throughout my market testing and all that, I found that my price point is fair. But to eliminate a lot of the labor, so the basic line and the select line, those are all going to be done by the CNC machine. Now the limited line is all going to be handcrafted. So for example, a basic ring takes about 40 seconds for the CNC machine to cut out. And for myself, then I put it on the lathe and I will finish it with some sandpaper. It's about a 10-minute process per ring. So once I've reached real full potential and we're selling a lot of rings, on those basic rings, it's not a really hard thing to do labor-wise, and so I could teach somebody how to do that. And so for scalability, I would definitely want to hire somebody to do some of the more simple tasks on the rings, so I could focus on the limited line, customer acquisition, and then also they can handle order fulfillment.
Okay, another question.
I know you had talked about the market that you're obviously targeting with males and with wedding rings, but have you given any thought to expanding that a bit into a female market as well? You had mentioned being able to put words and numbers on them, and being able to expand that into the female market as well, with phrases and things of that nature. They're very cool. And you said that the first ones were to your grandma and grandpa, which is a fantastic story.
Thank you. Yeah, I am working on maybe a more feminine in nature product. I feel like since they're wood, they maybe just seem a little more masculine. But it does depend on the width. Some of the rings are a lot more wide, and based on the need for the customer, I can certainly make them slimmer. I did just sell one to a woman for a woman, and it was just a really slim ring with that Paduke and maple. It was just a really nice dark red combo, and I think she wears it as a pinky ring. I'm making one for Carly Colbo here that is going to be, I'm trying to work on the metal so that we have a lot of longevity in there and it's not going to fall out after a year. And Carly's ring is going to be stark white, and it's going to actually end up having a sterling silver band in it. So I'm working on it, but so it's going to have, it's going to be a lot more feminine in nature, and then a product line that we'll be launching here when I figure out all the details on this is going to be our Aviary Duo line. And essentially what you'll be able to do, this is for men or women, but I'm specifically going to target people for their wedding day, engaged couples. And when you buy the ring, you'll also be able to buy a pair of earrings made of the same piece of wood that the ring was made of. So for that line, you'll end up, kind of getting a specialty piece where the ring and your earrings match. So on your wedding day, that might be a really cool thing to have.
Awesome. Question here.
You talked about personalization, and the engraving part of it kind of intrigues me too, but it takes a lot more skill probably to do an embossing or an engraving on the ring. So have you had any people that want to have like their name etched in it, or a phrase or something that could represent themselves besides just being a beautiful wedding band?
Has anybody asked for the Lord of the Rings, the Elvish-y,
That was literally my first idea here.
Yeah.
DJ, I was like, dude, what if I put Kramer in Elvish? And I think that'd be really cool. So we're working on something like that. Mostly the personalization options that I do, I offer names, I offer anything that you want. The majority of people select an anniversary date as opposed to, say, a first or last name. But I can do any of that. Like I said, that's actually the engraving process is done by a CNC machine. So while there is a level of skill and knowledge of the industry that you have to have, it's not. Once you learn it, you can pretty much do anything, different fonts, different thicknesses and sizes and all that. So it's super customizable as for the personalization as well.
I have a question for an audience member, your wife. Tyler, you bring, what, so he said, I'm quitting my job, I'm doing this, birds, trees, makes sense. What was your reaction?
I was all for it. I know he's very talented, very passionate and driven. And it showed the years prior because he would work his day job and then he'd be up late into the night working on it until he could, eventually quit his job and make it a full-time gig. But yeah, he definitely, I knew the potential was there, and he proved it with his enthusiasm and drive to get it done.
There we go, keep her. I'll give her 20 after.
Thank you.
Say, Brandon, I have a question. So you went from kind of murder crafting that 4x4 post into a candlestick to wedding bands. What was there any other product ideas in between there before you got to wedding bands, or was that a pretty straight leap that you made?
I have always since I've started, I've just been on that wedding ring train. And so it has just been, I've made maybe a table leg here and there, but for the most part, I've just stuck with wedding rings.
And talk about you said Make Well has been really important to you, and talk about just kind of the resources that you've used in the community, or what you would encourage other people to reach out for if they're thinking about doing something similar.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, the Make Well community has been huge. Went to Make Well Curiosity, and we broke out into table groups. And one of the groups that I was in, I was blessed to have Tyler in. And when I went to Make Well, I was sort of trying to discover myself. Like I touched on earlier, I wasn't super happy in my career. I was an engineering technologist in the fire suppression industry, and I didn't love it. And I liked the work. The company had its ups and downs. And then I met Tyler, and I met another Tyler at our table who just had really good things to say about the rings, and I was sort of trying to discover myself. Well, through networking, through people who see the potential in you and really call it out, I met Tyler, and then he said, you know what, come by the Idea Center. We have awesome resources that you can use and a great team of people. And then I met Lakin, and her counterpart were so supportive, and they said, this is going to be awesome. And it was the encouragement, the support, and the resources that I got from the Make Well community that connected me to the Idea Center and that brought me to where I am today.
Awesome question.
If someone wanted to surprise someone with a ring, what's the stealthy way you could get their ring size?
We're working on that. So essentially, you either have to know it, you have to steal their ring, and then I've got like this cone that you can drop the ring down, and it just tells you the size. So I've done that before where they've somehow been able to get it away from their spouse. Otherwise, it's pretty tough to do that. Maybe if they're a really heavy sleeper, or you drop a Benadryl in, their nightly cocoa, something like that. I don't support that. I think that's terrible, and it's not endorsed by Aviary Ring Co. So anyway, but off the record, whatever you got to do.
Okay, do we have any other questions before we ask our last question? Going once, going twice. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Brandon, for being here. We always ask the same last question at 1 million cups for those that are new here, and Tyler's going to have the honor.
Yeah, Brandon. So how can our 1 million cups community here in Bismarck, Mandan support you and the Aviary Company?
Awesome. The biggest success I've seen in sales and just with the growth of the company has been, number one, word of mouth. So share me on Facebook, like us on Facebook and Instagram, follow us there. If you feel led, throw out a Facebook post and a shout out. And then also just network with me. If it's just me getting in front of the right people and connecting with people like Tyler. So if you know somebody, or if you are somebody who you think, we could really do something great together, let's hit me up, and I would love to work with you.
Awesome. Give it up for Brandon, everybody. If you are interested, or you know someone who's interested in presenting at 1 million cups, you can go to the site 1millioncups.com/bizman and click apply to present. Next week, we have a shared economy panel that's happening right up here on stage. People in our community that are in that shared economy space. So it should be really cool. So we'll see you 9 a.m. next week, Wednesday at 1 million cups. Thanks for coming.